Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. I'm John Bryant, Superintendent with Henderson County Public Schools, and this is an exceptionally special day. This is the day that we celebrate the retirement, the service, and the extraordinary career of Janice Cowan King. And we are so fortunate to be doing this in this unique time in a very unique way. We have folks who are joining us live. We are streaming on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. We have folks from all across the country celebrating with us. And I want to share with Dr. King that folks are able to even, in the chat bar right now, they're wishing you congratulations and celebrating this opportunity. And that's going to be available to you when we finish together today. But we are grateful that the most important members of your family are here, some very special guests to be able to speak. But it's most important that we tell everyone, the thousands of people who wish they could be here. The thousands. You shake your head, Jan King, but you know better. If we could open up stadiums right now, the people you've touched, the people that you've served, the people that you have helped to mentor and grow and love would be here with you. And they are with you. They're here with you in spirit. They're here with you in their service and in their life and in their commitment to public education as you have been throughout your career. And we are truly honored to celebrate you in this day, letting you know that you are an educator without peer, and we are grateful to have been part of that journey. There are some special guests here with us today who are going to share remarks as we begin to get started, and it's my honor to introduce the first of those individuals, our current Board of Education Chairman, Mr. Blair Craven. And so I'm going to welcome Mr. Craven to the microphone at this time. Let's give Mr. Craven a round of applause.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, Dr. Bryant, and thank you for allowing me to be here today. It's a complete honor. Now, there are going to be a lot of nice words said of Jan King today, and they're all very, very true. Words such as kind, caring, extraordinary leader, and an amazing mentor all fit you to a T. But the word that comes to mind to me is a saint. And she's a saint to me because she fixes everything that we screw up as a board. And she deals with all the board's crazy decisions like, hey, why don't you start a complete virtual school from scratch for 13,000 kids, and let's get it done this weekend. And she makes it happen. And but there's also another reason that she's a saint to me, and that is because of Wade King. Now, as you may or may not know, Coach King was my baseball coach for a few years in high school, and Coach King always carried this fungo bat around with him. Now, that first year he was my coach, it seemed as though he took out all of his frustrations on us through hitting 200-mile-per-hour missiles at us from what seemed like 25 feet away or so. Now, but soon thereafter, I started to notice Coach King kind of sliding over to the fence, and someone started watching him at those games, and of course that was Jan. And little by little, those ground balls started slowing down just a little bit. So I call you a saint because I thank you, because I think I have a few more teeth and a few less bruises because of it. Now, Coach King also had a very unique way of saying hello to us players. It wasn't through the use of the usual handshake or a fist bump or even, how was your day at school today? It was through the use of, the way he greeted us was by cup checking us. And for those of you who don't know, that's where you take your fungo and just check to make sure that you're protected that day. He was always very concerned about our safety. But what does this have to do with Jan retiring? Well, I'll tell you. In my day job as a financial advisor, I deal with a lot of retirees and pre-retirees. And the number one thing that folks say to me when they retire, and it's 99% of the times, it's the wife, is that my spouse is driving me nuts. Isn't that right, bud? Now, I'm not going to say that's going to, I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but it very well could. So in case that does happen, I have something for you. I have your very own miniature fungo bat for you that in case Coach starts to drive you nuts, you can say hello in your very own unique way. Okay?
I will use it and try to
Absolutely.
keep it with these. That's awesome. Thank you. That's fun too. Funny too.
Sorry, Coach.
Thank you, Mr. Craven. And Jan, while I promised I would not embarrass you, I cannot extend that promise for everybody else. All right, that's those words. Thank you again for those words and for that celebration of family. And thanks for slowing the fungos down. We appreciate that. Our next remarks will be made by a mentor for both Dr. King and myself, and our former superintendent, Mr. David Jones. Let's give David Jones a round of applause, please.
The Cubs. There you go. Well, hello, everyone. It's a great opportunity to be here, speak a little bit about Jan, and I can thank Jan back when we first got you on board. The many roles you played in this school district. First as a teacher, and when you were a teacher, I was a parent because my son was in your class, and he thoroughly enjoyed it. Then you went on and got into administration and had the great opportunity to work with Bobby Wilkins as assistant principal, and you learned, I'm sure, a lot with Bobby there. But then as you went on into administration, became a principal, and not only did you become a principal, but recognized as the best principal in the state of North Carolina, which we all just were so excited for you. But that didn't happen by chance. That happened because of you. It happened because of your kindness. It happened because of your great human approach to things. I think every student, every teacher, every adult that came across you saw the empathy and the compassion that you had for them. And while there were tough decisions that you had to make, and you made them, it was always with, is this in the best interest of this kid? Is this in the best interest of the school? And you didn't mind. I think all good leaders sometimes have to question some of the things that are coming down. And you didn't mind, this directive that came, is this really what we need to do? And sound it out. And you did it diplomatically, but you helped some of us see our woes and our weary way of that's not the right approach. That's not the way we need to do things. So I know that the school district is really appreciative of all that you've done. And I know personally I'm very appreciative of what you've done while I was working there. All that you did for every person you came in contact. And this guy sitting at the end of the table, I know you've helped straighten him out. He and I used to teach together way back when. Great soul. And I really hope the two of you have a great opportunity to get out and enjoy life. To just get out and travel and do the things you want to do once this pandemic's over. And you've got a wonderful daughter. I know you're very proud of her. And one of these days she'll support you and take care of you. So we appreciate it. But thank you so much for all you do and all you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. And Jan, I would remind you that as Mr. Caldwell comes forward, who is another of our mentors and our former superintendent, really what we're trying to do is identify the people who have been practicing retirement best. And they'll show you exactly how to do that work, how to spend that time together and enjoy what you have well deserved. And so I now introduce our former superintendent, a dear friend and colleague, Mr. Bell Caldwell.
Retirement's a good gig, young lady. I have to say that. And you're right, Mr. Craven. It was about 5 minutes, and as soon as I was retired and where I was in the kitchen, and my wife says, "I think you're already getting on my nerves." And it was only after 5 minutes. I want to take this opportunity when I was trying to think on what I could say. It's Jan King, and then I said, Jan, kind of just a simple name that you've got right there, isn't it? And then I said, well, truly, what is a name? It's your identity. It is what people identify you. And then I started thinking, you've got more than just one name. So if you don't mind, just give me a few minutes because I've got a list of just a couple of names I want to go through. And the first one is Dr. Jan King. Dr. King the educator. Dr. King, as Mr. Jones said, a teacher, assistant principal, principal, central office, a person who works on numerous boards, both statewide and locally, Dr. King. Someone who takes our children and knows exactly what they need educational-wise. And Jan, it was truly an honor to serve with Dr. King. The thing that kind of just sometimes just hurt me a little bit is I would go to these state superintendent meetings, and the first superintendent I would see would say, "Oh, Henderson County's here. How is?" And I was going to say, "I'm fine, but no. How's Jan? How is Dr. King?" Dr. King is known throughout the state of North Carolina for her work with children. Your first name is Dr. King. The second name that I came up with is just Jan King. Jan King around the office. Jan King, the person that would do anything for you. Jan King, the person that would just always and get the job done, and we would sit around that table and we would talk, and it'd be Jan King. Jan King, still the instructional leader, but a little bit more personal with Jan King. Then there's Grand Jan, another name. Henderson County's loss, Knox and Cal advantage, hashtag. Grand Jan's face would light up when we'd sit around the table and talk about what happened over the weekend or what's going to happen. Another name that she wears proudly is Grand Jan. Another name is Mom, and I think it's been mentioned before. The love and compassion you have for this family right here. The name that I think that you wear probably the most proud is because you're so proud of that young lady sitting right there. Another great name. And then last but not least is Jan. Jan, the person who cares. Jan, the person who takes cakes to people who are in need. Jan, who takes dinners to people who have just lost a loved one. Jan, who will sit and write cards, personal cards and notes to people who are in need. Jan, who has that smile that's contagious. Jan, who has that compassion and can always say the right thing. It's just simply Jan. So therefore, I go through Dr. King, Jan King, Grand Jan, Mom, and Jan. You have wore each name to its absolute fullest, and you can be proud of every name that you have. And it was my honor to serve with Dr. Jan King, but most importantly, it's my honor to have a friend like Jan. Thank you.
Amen to each of those names, Mr. Caldwell. And my only disappointment is that he didn't use my name for you. Genizio is what she is known as in my world. And that's not the restaurant, that's our dear friend. And so that's on the second page of that series of work there. So Genizio will add that. We have special words now from the two loved ones who have been mentioned by each of our speakers and those who we know she looks forward to hearing from together. So we introduce her husband, Wade King, and daughter, Maggie King.
Yep, I'm first. I would like to thank everyone that have shared their love of education with Jan. Each one of you are very special. She has been blessed to work with all of you because you are very special people also. David and Bo, you both told me when you moved Jan back to the county office that you'd take care of her, and you did. And every time her name is mentioned, your names are mentioned, smile comes on her face when either one of your names are mentioned. Jan, you are as special as all these people have said. Our daughter Maggie is a replica of you. Loving, caring, relentless in her work. Grand Jan, your love for Cal and Knox is what you gave to all the children that you ever taught in Henderson County. As I told June Atkinson one year at the little conference we had at Grove Park Inn, Jan said, you see those ladies over there, they want to dance. And most of you know I like to dance. So I get out there and I start dancing, and June goes, she's such a great educator. She's does that. I said, June, I agree with everything you've said. But it's a shame, and it hurts my heart, that more kids in this country, in this county, didn't get to experience her as a teacher, because she was an exceptional teacher of kids. And now she's been more of a teacher to each one of you. Thanks, Jan, Grand Jan, Mom, wife, for all that you've done. We all love you and wish you the most happiness in your retirement.
Hi, I'm Maggie. I'm Dr. King's daughter. And I'm so happy to be here today. And everyone's mentioned, how awesome my mom is. And honestly, you're right. Like, she's great. But no one's really talked about her role as a daughter. And I think that's something that has spilled out into her work every day. And so I want to tell you some things about my mom that you've probably noticed, or maybe you haven't noticed, but I think that are directly from her influence of her parents. And so I'll start with my Nana. And my Nana actually taught at the school we're at right now, which is so cool. Like, how full circle of an experience. Also, like, reduce, reuse, recycle. It's still here. This is awesome. But I'm just so, like, Nana was a teacher, and I think in a lot of ways she inspired Mom to become a teacher and to start this. And I know Nana would be so proud. She's here, but I know she would be just so proud to see Mom today finishing an awesome career in public education. And then there's the influence of my papa. And this one, there's two things. Number one, Papa and Mom do not miss the 5:30 news. Okay? Y'all keep her working past 5:30, but it's on record. And we're watching that maybe when we get home. We're not missing much. We're going to skip the commercials, but nothing else. So, serious about the news, but also extremely serious about the mail. Papa he worked for the U.S. Postal Service. Mom loves the mail. I'm excited for her to be retired because she'll be able to watch the mail come in every day. Like, what an exhilarating experience. But I'm not kidding. I'm making fun of her a little bit, but it's true. She does love the mail. So everyone watching, like, you know how to get in touch with her. But there are a couple hundred other people that wanted to send you some mail today. So from the bottom of my heart, Mama, I love you, and I'm so thankful for you.
Those are the right words from the right people. And yes, now you have some mail to open, Dr. King, and you get to enjoy that. We'd like to take a moment and invite everybody who's joining us, as well as the folks that are here today, to share a little look back, a slideshow, a trip down memory lane, a chance to see photos that represent your career, your life, that service, that time that you've spent in public education, caring for those children spoken about by your husband and fellow educators and colleagues, and know that that is work that has mattered, and these memories are those that we'd like to share with you now. Let's give that walk down memory lane. Hopefully you saw some of the faces whose lives you've touched and you've helped to support and you've helped to grow, those who you've served, those who you've loved, and those who deeply, deeply love you. I have to start by saying this was work that Dr. Fry and I were going to do together, but what we did was we talked about who was the ugliest crier. And I won, so I get to share the words, and I apologize to everybody who may be watching at home. If you have HD video, you might want to turn that off at this point, because I am easily the ugliest crier of the bunch. But we've talked about what we love about Dr. King and how special she is and how extraordinary she's been in all of our lives. But really, Dr. Fry and I are kindred spirits because we both have an anger with you. We have a bone to pick with you, in fact. Jan King is the one who is responsible for my considering a principalship at the elementary school level. It was, in fact, in this very room that she may remember that she turned over to me and she said, John, I want you to really consider, I know you've been a high school guy your whole life. That's what you want to do. You want to be a high school principal. You should consider elementary school. You would love it, and it could be career changing for you. And I was like, she's a crazy person. But what it did was it started in me a thought around what that was. Why I have the bone to pick with her is because I had to follow her in that principalship. Who wants to follow Jan King? Dr. Fry, can I get an amen? Amen. Who wants to follow Jan King? Nobody. And then you learn, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Like, you want to be part of what she's done. You want to say, what you have done in a school community matters so much that I want to be part of that. And as I was thinking about how much you have meant to so many of us, this is the ugly cry part, video off, is I've never really understood why I loved you so much as an educator, as in a person, and somebody that's like my soul sister, like if that's a thing. I have a real sister, but you are my soul sister. And that's because you're a farmer. She's been farming her whole life. She's been planting seeds and tending to it and watering and being the sunshine in people's lives, in children's lives, in communities' lives. And I was like, wait, I grew up on a farm. This is what I want to do. I want to farm like you farmed. Dr. Fry wants to farm like you farmed. And thousands of people who you've touched have said, like you have, as I told you the other night at the board meeting, you've made us all better. Like you have improved in us because you're one of the rare people in this world that cares more about other people than you care about yourself. Some people want to be that. We strive to be that. Like you are that. You give of yourself. You care about others beyond the scope of yourself. And that is a gift beyond blessing in our lives. So we have a bone to pick with you. We've upset with you and love you at the same time. But we're so grateful that you've let us farm with you. That you've let us sit on the tractor and see how important it is to plow those rows straight. And to do it with class and character and integrity and grace beyond measure. Mr. Craven talked about kindness. I don't know a kinder person. I don't. I hope maybe we can be a touch of that. That the fingerprints you've left on public education in this state and in these communities that you have served, that we will be part of moving that forward. We care about that. Those people that you have served alongside, they knew that in you from go and watched you grow and serve in ways, again, that are beyond measure. I do want to say for every single person who cannot be here with you today, to hug you and to hold your hand and to tell you how much you've mattered, you need to know that you've mattered. That you've mattered to them and you've mattered to us. And our work is better because of you. And it will continue to be. And if we can take some of those names that Mr. Caldwell talked about and plant those seeds together, that others will be able to do that in the same way. We love you deeply. We are grateful and blessed and humbled that we got to stand in that field with you and water and give sunshine and make it grow. Thank you for being the very best of us. Thank you for being part of the Henderson County Public Schools family in ways known and unknown. And thank you for giving us something to celebrate that is the truest form of what it means to be a public educator and a servant of children. Because that's who you are. And that's who we all aspire to be. And so with that, I'm going to invite this group and everyone, wherever you are, to stand and applaud and cheer in ways that we only know how to do with people we love, and say thank you to Jan King. And now you get a moment to speak to those who are here with you and those who are joining you from afar.
I love you guys. I love you. And sometimes I think maybe you know me better than I know myself. I don't like Jan King kind of spotlight time. I guess you can't avoid that at retirement, but I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to call Henderson County Public Schools home. And the only time I took away from here to work at DPI, it made me stronger, and I made connections across the state that I think did ultimately help grow me as an educator and helped me have some things to come back and share with this district. But in short, like, I am who I am because of you. Dr. Bryant talks about getting watered. I feel like y'all have watered on me a lot and grown me and fertilized me. This district grew me up, invested me from day one when I was a student teacher. You raised me, and I've always been proud to say I love Henderson County Public Schools. I love calling this place home. It's a special place. And I've shared before that at one point in my career, a board member said, well, how do you know it's a special place? You've never worked anywhere else. And so maybe that's why I left for a little while, was to go back and prove that it really is special, because I could compare it to other places. It's a wonderful place. And to my former students, like, Wade talked about me as a teacher, and I have to say, while I've enjoyed every aspect of my career, there's nothing like the magic that happens inside the walls of a classroom. That's the place I most felt like me in education, and loved teaching. And it would be wrong if I didn't mention, like, I have so many students who are teachers now, both in the county or across the state or even in other states, and that makes me really the proudest, that they would choose to be educators and choose that career path, because it's a wonderful and rewarding career path. But I just want to say thank you. I've had what I think is the most blessed and wonderful career. I've been reminded over and over again in my career that my colleagues truly become my friends, that they become my family, my extended family. I want to thank the people who put this together today and surprised me. I'm glad I didn't know a whole lot about it, or I would have been like trying to edit the slideshow and take out a few unflattering pictures. I'll get back at you later, Mr. Rhodes. But in all seriousness, just thank you. It is nice to be loved, but as I say to my family when they say I love you, I say I love you more, and Henderson County Public Schools, I love you more. And as a retiree, I'll be your biggest cheerleader. I believe in the school system, and I believe in all it does. And so thanks for a great career, and keep doing the good work. Dr. Fry, y'all are in good hands with Dr. Fry. A lot of people don't know this. Wendy and I were roommates back in the day, and I first met her. We grew up, 2 hours apart, 3 hours apart. I first met her in high school. I went on a date with her cousin, and and we're so close, and I'm just so glad this has come full circle. And she's going to do great things in the school system. And to those of you who logged in, thanks for watching online, and those of you who are here, thank you, and Godspeed.